This is Sherix Television Fact Check.
SafeMusicList.com. Royalty-free music.
This is Sherix Television Fact Check.
SafeMusicList.com. Royalty-free music.
This is Sherix Television Fact Check.
Hello, Ms. Salom Famudem, Unakabo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the globe. Of course, we continue with our series, the Sherix Fact Check. Today, we get to talk to an extraordinary person, somebody where we almost, I could say 90% of Sierra Leoneans in Sabian, because he's always in the media, he's always advocating, he's always talking on behalf of the main opposition, All People's Congress. We talk about no other person but the person where Naina, the spokesman for the All People's Congress at national level. Of course, the National Publicity Secretary of the All People's Congress is no other person but Honorable Sidi Yahya Tunis. Now we're going to talk to today, right here at the studio. Hello, Honorable Tunis. How you do, sir?
Hello, how are you? Thank you very much. I do extremely okay.
Right.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak to you, man. It is always a delight for Sidi. Me and you two know we serve. But today we get to operate on a very professional level. And so it is always a delight for get somebody like you to come to our studios to talk about our country, to talk about our democracy, and to talk about the elections that is about to come. So for the benefits of some of the other people that we don't know you, I just be one for take a quick moment for introduce yourself so that people that we not sabi you then go know you. So what are you, Sidi Yahya Tunis?
Well, thank you very much. Sidi Yahya Tunis, Israelian, of course, born in Kenema, grew up Bo, go school na Bo, RC model, then later Bo school. Of course, my people in Komo Pujon, I start my primary at GEC Pujon. I proceed, do my sixth form na academy, and then later United States, who signed and there I get my degrees in university. Me currently at the National Publicity Secretary of the Oppositional People's Congress, like you rightly stated. I mean, I'm also the spokesperson for the 2023 elections. Before that, I've been the acting in that capacity today, but then also I got elected. So now I'm in a substantive. Nationally, I don't serve the country in different capacities. First start as Health Information Specialist, Ministry of Health in 2009. Later became the Director of ICT at that same ministry day. And then when the Ebola came as alone, they sent me on secondment at the National Ebola Response Center as the Director for Strategic Communications. I've been the spokesperson also for the Ebola response. We fought very hard and ended the Ebola. After Ebola, I got appointed by the former president, Dr. Anes Baikroma, for serve in government as Minister for Tourism and Cultural Affairs. I served as Minister from 2016 to 2018. So pretty much in summary, that na Sidi Yahya Tunis.
Man, that na a whole portfolio, man. Well, we are very, very happy to have somebody like you. No doubt, you're a person where going to be very knowledgeable about the topic we're going to talk about today, specifically Naya. So for let's go into the programs right away. I go on for start for ask you about the All People's Congress. Elections they come. June of this year. So we just want to know how prepared is your party for this election coming?
Well, thank you very much. In terms of structures, organization, we very much prepared. Of course, everybody knows the APC don't go through challenges since 2018. We don't spend quite a lot of time in our court. Since 2020, we don't do court for many, many reasons and for different reasons. And as I speak, we still get some of the people in the court for different cases, from COI to, corruption cases and all. Some of them, of course, if not all of them, politically motivated. But in any case, the party don't able, get over some of the court cases. We don't go through with elections from ward level all the way to national level. Also, we don't elect all of the executives them. And also, we don't elect with flag bearer. We instead done in turn appointing running mates, with the National Advisory Committee don't already endorsed. We also don't set up all of the campaign committees them, and then campaign committees, then they operate at districts, regional, and ward levels as well. So as far as elections preparedness, we're ready. We get all of the teams that are now on the ground, and we serve also within at the strategic level. We're busy. They plan with strategies on a daily basis. All we ask for really now that we're able to get a level playing field for exercise with democratic rights and for fully able to participate as an opposition party.
Right, definitely. So, first thing when this electioneering process began for start, the main opposition political party, one of the APC, where they talk on behalf of, they began a little bit of, chamots and disagreements there with some processes. So you are telling us now that all then, disagreement and the issues that would have been get, everything is now over, and now you are ready to go into the election proper.
Yes, pretty much so. The issues then they, especially the one that we related to court, we don't get over them, and they prepare for the elections now. And we're also very careful, Mr. Sheriff, going into these elections, especially when it comes to the other stages, were also equally important. The issuance of symbols for people we get for contest for parliamentary and local council elections. We want to ensure we not only stay within the confines of the 1991 Constitution, but we also stay within the confines of we own Constitution. We follow all of the provisions then to the letter. So at the end of the day, we not go get unnecessary court cases again. We go delay and we go probably deny from winning the 2023 elections.
Well, I love that. Definitely, I love that particular statement. So, like inside the APC, before now, the culture was like when they choose the presidential candidate of the party, it was mainly by selection. But now, I think, this time around, when they choose the presidential candidate, it was by election. So how would a membership they able for work with that? Was there any issues or people that just accept it like that?
Well, there were many issues. Like you rightly stated, the culture of election not to be in that way many people used to in the APC. And so we face a transition from an old constitution into a new constitution, where it states any position where somebody wants for a hold at the party, you get for hold on through an election. And so we also be there in the process with the transition also from an old executive to new executive. So people contested for positions. And, the elections process been also faced a lot of challenges, a lot of, people that go na PPRC for challenge some results, and PPRC be get for call, in some cases, then we get for do reruns, just for ensure say the process fair and everybody satisfied. But Mr. Sheriff, no matter what, in elections, you will always get people who will be aggrieved, no matter how fair the process is. And because it always hurts for let somebody lose. And it is always sometimes not immediate for let somebody lose and accept the result. Some people go get angry, some people go accept immediately. But in the end, you get people who are dissatisfied, which is natural. But as a party, we will continue for engage them people and they, and we will do everything possible for ensure say we bring everybody on board. The fact of the matter, though, is the process itself. We ensure say we follow the constitution to the letter, and also the difficulty we had now that their elections, then they were court-ordered elections. So in some cases, we had to ensure that we able for draw the dichotomy between the court order and we own constitution for ensure say we not violate any of the two.
So, Mr. Tunis, so if I can interject quick, wait to make the party go wait for let there be a court injunction or court ordered before they go through a process. Why would that happen?
Well, because say we've been on the court since 2020. When we go adopt with constitution, some people then go court, so the court slam injunction on we. That we not for hold any conference we get for do with one, adoption of the constitution, and two, election of the officials them at every level. And say at some point also, then we get for take out the entire executive we been there at that time and set up an interim body when then be the man the affairs of the party, then at the court. And so anything we will be there for do, the courts be there for clear we force. So since injunction be there on we, there was no way on we own. We go just grab and go do convention. If not, so the courts go order we for go do convention. So luckily for we, late last year, the court under Justice Adrian Fisher began for clear we for now go ahead with the elections. Then he give you specific dates then go for them conclude the elections then they buy. But he also know say just as we are about for go now with National Delegates Conference, somebody else can we go court again. We another high court judge slam injunction on we back that we not hold the convention. But we get for we lawyers that we get for fetch that one day, and that court they fortunately again we get for vacate that injunction day and order we for go on ahead with the National Delegates Conference where that day we go elect with officials them and with presidential candidates.
So all them courts here who have been go now members of APC now then be the party go to court or now people from outside.
Well, are members of the party. The one that we get for do with the injunctions are members of the party. Now they carry the court. We get first of all a group we call NRM, National Reformation Movement, and then later another fellow we call Alfred Peter Conte get for carry go court. But these are all members of the APC.
Okay, so talking about that, it was blatant, it was clear that there was internal disunity, there was internal problems within the the APC, I'm sorry. So is that over now? When I don't solve internal problems, are you guys working now as one party or when I still get the problems?
To a large extent, we are, of course. We still get certain people, honestly. We not still happy because they either lost or waiting that they expect they not get. But to a large extent, we are working as a united party. In fact, the thing that's interesting most now that all of the flag bearer aspirants, the one that we contest against Dr. Samura Kamara, they all rally behind them. and now they all they work hand in hand now, plan strategies and all. And even we self, the people we run against we for we positions them, we and then they work hand in hand because we want for ensure say we keep the party together. So we all they work very hard for ensure say we able one contest in the 2023 elections, and then two also for able win that election day on the first ballot.
Right. So one of the issues then we wanna be the really contend with now be this proportional representation system, you know, where the electoral commission get for use for elect the parliamentarians them. So are you guys now okay with that PR system?
Well, it has been forced on the people of this country, and so we have no choice but to, follow and to participate. The thing is, the APC not be really there against the PR system. The PR system has its own advantages and again disadvantages. And it could be used to accomplish a lot of things we want to accomplish as a nation, especially when you look at inclusivity and all. But our problem was that the manner in which they bring and come, they flout the laws, the manner in which they force and through parliament not be correct, and it then violates a lot of the provisions them and, the statutory manner we the need for follow, they not follow.
Okay. So, but I be understand say one of the issues was that time not been there.
That is fine. And then secondly, it be too late. The time where they bring.
Okay, exactly.
Time not been there, and the IGR just do a research where they don't say 60% of the country still say they don't understand the PR system, and that was our issue. That this is good, but let us take our time. Maybe not for this election cycle, but for the next election cycle, we don't prepare ourselves, we don't educate the people very well, and we don't put in all of the modalities. But this thing came almost 6 months to election, and the manner in which they're forced and through parliament, it be really not proper, and at that now be we own concern as a political party. We raise them concerns then but as always, unfortunately, the government not listen.
So, but the whole idea was that people that they look at and say the main opposition, APC, which is your party, now wouldn't be they play a delay in tactics because the whole problem started from the 2015, population and housing census, where they say the data have been flawed, and so there was need for the midterm census of 2021. So when have been delay the process. So by the time where every data now they come back, where when I for agree on certain things, there was no time. So now I make where the PR system come in. So is that not true?
Well, that is false. In the first place, now then if we talk about the census, now then delay. Then start for talk about midterm and population census. We challenge them, and again they force and through parliament. You and I know say before ever the president makes such proclamation, the statutory instrument for them be prepared and laid before the House of Parliament. But the president make the proclamation before then they even prepare the statutory instrument. And at the time when the president make the proclamation, this country was under the state of emergency. That might be the time we will be get COVID. All right. So then delay the process to a point, then delay say something will be for happen in 2020, it end up for happen for start the process in 2021. And also, when you do census, you get starting committees the way you get for setup. You get for set up the technical committee, and you also get for set up the advisory committee. In the advisory committee, now they get all of the elections management bodies, such as PRC, ECSL, political parties, and all. For us as a political party, we were invited to a meeting once. When we go, we raise concerns. After that, we were never invited again. The technical bodies will involve the technical expertise, then like the World Banks, the UNFPA, they raised concern that as a nation, we are not ready. A lot of the technical issues then way for they in place, they're not in place. And that if the census go ahead, it's not going to be credible, it's not going to be acceptable. To a point, World Bank being therefore withdraw all of their support and their resources for that census thing. So we come back to them and say, look, with all of them challenges they are who they face, let us not go ahead with this census. We decide as a nation for go with technology, tablets. We don't get the tablets. The tablets come from Kenya, they borrow some. When they come, they're not able to configure them on time. So the whole thing be just flawed. At the end of the day, we self decide, say, we're not going to participate. And Mr. Sherif, rightly so, you see the data we come out from that census thing. To a point that I would now tell you, say, even with the proportional representation, the law says the ECSL for use a census data for determining the population spread in the country. But you know what they did? Because they're not able to rely on the 2021 census figures alone, because the figure is so flawed, and the voter registration figure really rubbish that census figure there, because the census figure tell you, for example, say Freetown gets a population of 600,000. And you know, see census, they take into consideration everybody, including children. Now, the voter registration data we come out show that Freetown register over 1 million people. So you see the disparity. So what the ECSL do, because they're not able to use the census figure for 2021, this 2015 census where they be say a flawed. For let them able to get the allocation for the proportional representation, they come up with a first mathematical or statistical analysis. They add the 2015 census figure to the 2021 census figure and divide them by 2, forget the mean, when I then use for allocate seats.
So you are saying that they use both the 2015 census data and the midterm census data for this election where they come?
Correct.
Well, I understand say no boundary delimitation not for they that they are using it's a PR system wherein they're not going for really use most of the data will come out, but that they are using the your own registration, what they do when at the voter registration. How then two data then they interfere with the elections? Do they matter?
Well, they use both. They use the census data, and that is how they're able to add seats in their own area. It'd be too late.
Oh, they not add any seats. They not add any seats now the stronghold of the APC.
No, absolutely not. They're not add.
So, Mr. Tunis, let me ask you this question. You know, you guys are in the opposition, and you know, say the opposition is part of the governance system. If una say the process is flawed, what to make una say una don't accept the system now? I mean, the process for go forward.
Because I mean, it has been forced on us.
How exactly?
The ECSL, when are they responsible for elections, they use. And we go all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court don't rule say the ECSL rights for user.
So in other words, you are saying the Supreme Court is not neutral in this case as well?
Well, I mean, we can never, as a political party, whether we disagree with the ruling of the Supreme Court or not, we respect the sanctity of the court system, especially the Supreme Court.
Okay.
When it comes to constitutional matters, now then are the competent authority by law or interpret the constitution of this country. Okay. So if we as an opposition party get an issue with the constitution, we take that matter to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court rule, we have no choice but to go by the ruling of the Supreme Court. As a party, we respect the sanctity of the law. If we dissatisfied, we go wait until another Supreme Court sit on that matter, they state otherwise. But as it is now, that is the ruling of the Supreme Court, and we have no choice but to go by that ruling.
Yeah, to go by that ruling. Okay. All right. And so moving forward, I want for make I really know from you, not as a National Publicity Secretary for the opposition APC, but as a Sierra Leonean, I want for me to tell me your honest truth. Waiting at your assessment of the SLPP government within the 5 years where they don't in power.
Well, I mean, you're now trying to take me out of my comfort zone.
No, but we are talking as Sierra Leoneans, right? Yes.
Where I am covered by the umbrella of my party. Honestly, I will say, and even if I'm talking as an opposition spokesperson, I will say this. There are things where they don't do some reforms, then they don't do, where if only they implement them well, it would all help we a lot as a nation. When you look at, for example, the repeal of the Part 5 of the criminal libel law, that is something where everybody will give accolade to. I mean, even though it is only limited to journalists, me and you as citizens will not covered. We can still be locked up for staying our mind, and also, and also the free quality education. As much as it gets a lot of challenges, and we can improve on it. That's something also we, good because they don't increase access to education. And so, even if we come in as a government, that's something that one day we at least we will build on, because it's always important. These are not things you play politics with. The future of our country depends largely on how educated our population will be. And we need for also invest a lot of money in with children in the future, try as much as we can for building human capacity. And so these are things I will give them kudos for. But when it comes to democracy, I will say we country in democracy don't take a nosedive. And the government not make any efforts for able to unite the country. I will tell you honestly and sincerely that Sierra Leone is much more divided now than I don't ever see before in my entire world life. We cannot continue in that manner. I believe say this like a country where, as far as I am concerned, we should not have issue with tribe or region, because we are so much interrelated. We not forget problem, we not forget divided along tribal and regional lines. But as it is now, we are deeply divided. I also believe say the human rights record of this administration is deplorable. A lot of extrajudicial, killings don't happen with unnecessary. A lot of arbitrary arrests of opposition figures, including myself seated here. They're really necessary. The democratic space is closing in. As I speak now, even for whole meetings, opposition parties, they find them difficult. Police could just can't say we need clearance. And these are electioneering time. And they continue for closing that space. You just assure say go to read the brouhaha where they go on right now about ban of political rallies. Political rallies, me and say has been part of our culture for many, many, many years. And this now a way where citizens they participate and feel part of the political process. Even that, then one particular away. So, all of these things put together, in terms of democracy, good governance, and the rule of law, human rights, they do well. In terms of the economy, it is the worst, I go imagine. I mean, we just not able with monetary policies, then poor. The Bank of Sierra Leone really not able to bring out policies where we able to control the foreign exchange, the inflation down the above 40% now, which is the highest we have ever seen. And the prices of basic commodities, they continue to go up. The price of fuel, they continue to go up, and that they affect transport costs and every other thing. So the economy is also really, really, really terrible. And so if I get for it, the government, yes, whereas when they do well in reforms, they don't repeal the death penalty. These are all, good in the eyes of the international world. But when you
So,
come
so,
locally, the
so,
things that
um,
we matter to
so,
the ordinary citizens, they know they do well there at all.
So, Mr. Tunis, let's talk about the economy. I mean, I know say you're not person we're well informed, you're not person we understand what they go on right now. Before the Russia-Ukraine war, we be buy petrol in the United States at $1.60. But right now, as it speaks to you, the average price for a petrol per gallon now $3 some cents. And so this economic hardship where they go around, we cannot unconnect it from what they go on between Russia and Ukraine. They affect all sides. So at the try for see what make way when another try for educate the masses as part of the governance system, even though you are in opposition, for me they understand say this hardship where they go on not to only Sierra Leone, but that they happen everywhere.
We economy we don't begin struggle before even the Russia-Ukraine war. But if you want to use the Russia-Ukraine war as an excuse, let us take our neighbors, Guinea and Liberia. Guinea, Liberia are the same side we did. You're right? Russia and Ukraine war, they go on, but Guinea is still able to manage their economy. They're still able to keep the fair price at, 12,000 Guinean franc, which is about, 13, 14,000 with money now. They still able to keep the fair price at that level. They're still able to keep the inflation low. What's really now a problem is that, Mr. Sheriff, and I'll be very honest with you, we get over bloated spending. We have a lot of, unnecessary jobs that we will create for people who they pay them very exorbitant amount of money. We spend a lot of money on foreign travels, and unnecessary spending, and we know they generate that much revenue, and so it very very difficult. And the foreign, repatriation of we
Yeah, we'll wait for you. I know say you will come back online.
currency also they are involved with. Introduced, first of all, not be favorable for business. The monetary policies where the bank governor introduced not been so much favorable. So all of them things, then the combination of factors, they all affect the economy. Take for example, this now the government where I see get the largest strategic communications ever. Ever. Yeah, we get 3 or 4 directors of strategic communications. So those kind of things. So we're
So
not able to manage we spending. So even before the Russia-Ukraine war, we get. I mean, I always say this, and I'm not saying this because I'm an opposition. In 2008, when the just 1 year when the former government take over, if you remember very well, we faced commodity crisis in the world. Outside price of commodities they rise around the world. And in that year, the oil price per barrel, now the highest it will ever rise, $145 a barrel. Since then, we never get fuel price rise to that level. But even where the oil price now be $145 a barrel, the then government be able to manage. They introduce policies that we keep the petrol price low in this country at 3,750 a liter. But here we are, from where this administration kind of power, oil price, the global oil price per barrel never reached $100 per barrel. But here we are paying almost 22,000 a liter for petrol. And that in itself, they affect every other, aspect of the economy, especially when it comes to the daily cost of the commodities. It really need urgent attention. And when you juxtapose that one with the promises where we see at the New Direction Manifesto, a complete contrast to what they promise we.
So, Mr. Tunis, if you say, like where you mentioned the neighboring countries like Guinea particularly, if you say, waiting they help boost up the economy as well, now waiting they come out from our country, or they export outside, they determine how our money they value. Now, how much of export do we make in Sierra Leone? We go make, we're able to boost up our economy the way we would expect them. And so plus the global economic hardship where they go on. So I just want to know if we can factor all the things in the inside and come up with
Yes, we can factor. Now that make I tell you earlier, say even before the Ukraine war, we economy don't begin suffer. And this is let me tell you two reasons. One, I tell you about the reckless spending. And then the other thing, this government made a terrible mistake. Me and say, in the world, governance and continuity. One government will come, there are certain things where the previous government will do where you go agree with. In those cases, you review. But what did this government do? When they come, they wage war on everybody, including the mining companies will be there. Then we get a perception about the previous government where I don't know which side they pull out, but to a large extent, a lot of them were wrong. So what did they do? Instead of reviewing mining contracts, then terminate mining contracts then. So you find out, say, like for example, the London mining, where the London mining and Lumsa previously, where they spent 2 years they fetch na court. So during that 2 years, no mining, no exports, no nothing. A lot of people been just lost job, lost revenue, right? The same happened with African minerals. They shut down completely. There was a lot of battle, who king who, then come end up the Europe. So all of them things then they also affect.
But I feel say the reasons where they been give, now been the agreements then where the APC been signed with their mining companies then. Like for instance, the president be at Tonkolili, then they say if they give back to the community a percentage from their mining companies then. Based on what you have been do during the APC, it was 0.001%. Now if I go back to the community, whereas they don't can negotiate 1%. So when you look at them, they don't go give back 20 billion. So their agreement them.
When you look at that, first of all, the person who talk that word, we seen as 0.001%. I mean, that is just insane. This is the same person who been there as Minister of Mines. We tell me that this country say, don't do mining agreements, we say mining companies get for they now pay up to 3% of the proceeds as corporate social responsibility to the mining area. So if the same person they now can't map, they tell we say now 0.0001%, I mean that shows the level at which we can be dishonest sometimes as politicians. But I mean it is just insane. No same country not go sign that kind of agreement. You go give 0.001% to your citizens as rights. But these are things where could be responded to, we could be evaluated. But I could categorically state here, say that is not correct. The person will make that statement, say you can also have other statements of him where they say 3%.
Mr. Tunis, the president, you don't talk about the president in travel one. I mean, all man, we don't dey talk about time. But now we don't begin to see dividends. We don't begin to see waiting they come out of them travels then they. Sometimes it pays more for the president himself to be present to appeal to people them for something what go on for may happen at the country. Look at like the new airports. I mean, I don't know what you say about the new airports. I don't know what you say about some of the other things that way they happen. So I think say the president in travel one don't pay back. Is that not so?
Mr. Sherix, you live in the United States of America, right?
Yes.
And say John F. Kennedy, the way high John F. Kennedy Airport, for example, the way high they now not to say been the way they start.
Right.
They don't do several expansions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So will you refer to that as a new airport?
Well, no, because the thing is
exactly. So where we are saying, Lunge International Airport don't see an expansion of a new terminal that has been constructed, which is good.
Well, guess what, Mr. Tunis? Before you go further, Mr. Tunis, we just don't talk to the man where they in charge of the infrastructure initiative now the president in office. And it don't tell we say not to expansion. It's a brand new airport. We're completely different from what you wanna do. So not to expansion.
Okay, we have an airport in the same location beside the old airport been there. The runway where then they use now the same runway, then just do some expansion on the edges. Now the same runway, and not make new runway. The airport terminal tower where they don't build, the equipment within at the old terminal now they don't transfer the equipment where they help the plane for land. But that's all not saying a me own problem. Me and say that particular building, that building will not cost us $270 million, my brother. It will not. Not only that, now you and me get for pay that money day for the next 25, 30 years. The management.
No, I don't think so, because not so they say now BOT.
Well then I can read the agreement.
No, they say the man where they in charge is saying a BOT when I build, operate, and transfer. So the one that we can bill them, now then get for try for get the money back over 25 years. Then after that they return until we just like how wanna do the tollway.
Now me and you they pay. What are they pay the toll? Not to me and you. Oh, drive there every day. Now we they pay. When you
but then they happen everywhere. They happen in America. They happen outside.
You buy water na ton for 10,000 deals. When you go to the airport now $6.50.
Now this they happen outside. All airports then think then they are there.
No, but I mean this is what I'm saying. I mean $270 million for an airport terminal. Come on, value for money.
But Mr. Tunis, let us get one thing correct.
Listen, Brian, let me come.
Okay.
And the thing also is, sometimes as government, we forget the rationale why people want to do things. I was Minister of Tourism. The whole reason why airport discussion been start under the previous administration. We can't notice one of the things that really drive people from coming into this country. Now the difficulties where they encounter crossing from Lunge into Freetown. Now that make you find out even plenty heads of state, then they find them very difficult for visit rally because of that crossing the hassles where they go through, the security aspect of it. Sometimes, it's just difficult. So that is why that was waiting being trigger the construction of an airport on the mainland.
But that was going to cost 23 villages. When before destroy 23 villages, the money was going to be so much, and not be get for big pass the airport will get Nalonge. Right?
That is not true. First of all, no village not before destroyed. In fact, waiting before happening where the construction of that airport they before take place. We also been a member for do an administrative block, like they did in Abuja, where they moved the city from Lagos to Abuja because me and you know, say Freetown don't become overpopulated. So it was also necessary, and it is also necessary as a country for us to start thinking about having an administrative block, which time we will get, you know, we government the function. That was the whole essence. But unfortunately, it was politicized. Now we have a new terminal built at Lunge. Expansion has happened. Nobody is saying that it's not true. But has it addressed
So
the
let me
hassle
ask this question
of
now.
crossing into
So let me
Lunge?
ask this question, Mr. Tunis. So now that this airport has been built and we don't have any other way, let us assume the APC kind of power. We're not going now able for work on the bridge where they connect Freetown to that airport there, because the idea is forget two commercial cities, then both on the side of Freetown and on the side of Lunge. In fact, people are suggesting that therefore move the administrative headquarters to the side of Lunge. So will the APC work on that instead of changing the plans?
Well, when the APC kind of power, we go do feasibility studies and we go give the people of this country waiting go serve we best. And waiting, you know, go ensure say we continue to develop this nation. One thing I will say for sure, the APC no go overturn, you know, or cancel or terminate any policy where this government will introduce, where we know say could be beneficial to the people of this country. Whether
Right.
we disagree, we go reevaluate them and we go make them better so that it will benefit everybody and it will be for the good of everybody.
So, Sidi, Mr. Tunis, moving forward, you know, you talk about a lot of arrests they go on by government of people them, you know, especially in the opposition. And when they look at and say, anytime where the APC then gather any side, either halala commodity or mami cause commodity. In fact, music the way they don't pull when either they play pan. Most of una rallies, when I hear mami cause, when I the cause mami cause, when I have supporters and they cause mami cause. So morally, do you think that is okay in a democracy?
Do you know how many times I go show you, I go forward you audios, where people they curse me mama every day, where then they curse me whole generation. I go send you audios where people they ask that they for court we throat them, that they not for allow you for get office anywhere in the southeast, that they for mob justice anybody we oppose president. We have those audios. It is politics, Abraham. And in politics, people they say whatever, but you have to look at the party for what it is. The idea that anytime we gather na halala, no, we don't hold successful conventions. We don't go gatherings. The outside police don't go scatter after we don't spend billions. The courts go order, the police go scatter. We don't cost nobody. We commodity circle. We don't deal with members of parliament, 10 of them, then kick them out of parliament. We not cost, we not touch nobody. We don't deal, police don't go into the well of parliament, they don't beat with MPs them out, which is unprecedented. They don't fire over 40 canisters of tear gas into the party office. We not touch nobody. As I speak, we get a lot of members then still incarceration. They have not been charged to court for anything, but then still arrest them. We have remained law-abiding. Just recently, they come out McKinney, you saw the crowd. Hundreds of thousands of people on the stretch from McKinney to Freetown. You know area about Chuk Chuk, you know area about Fetch Fetch. You know, we have carried. Quite recently, just, I don't know if the SLPP been get, Namoyamba, they beat a journalist almost to death. But people don't say these things. They
Yeah,
only
so,
talk
but
about
Mr. Tunis, let me ask this question.
APC.
So-
We are the most, when you look at the makeup of the APC executive, we are the most peaceful, most tolerant, most focused, people. Abraham, you know me.
Right,
There
I know
is
you.
no way.
Now you make a surprise.
There
Now
is
you make
no
a
way
surprise.
I
Where are
can,
the
there is no
students
way
here? They go
I
on.
can ever, there
Uh-huh.
is no way I can ever condone thuggery or be part of thuggery or hooliganism of any nature.
But then you dey part of
My
a
focus
system.
is to
You dey part of a
ensure
system now, Mr. Tunis. You dey part of a system where we dey see say some of them things they happen. You know, and I make like then you know say they get this music where they really say that they cause mami cause inside that music when a political rallies. I mean, I don't know, see the executive they come in and stop or ban that music there because you know they inside with culture.
we don't condemn any song where they attack somebody in personality. We don't condemn any hate statement, hate speeches where they condemn or where they attack anybody in personality.
Okay.
And we do not play such songs on our gatherings anymore. But you
Okay.
see,
So
the thing we hurtful about all of this, and I keep telling this to the PPRC and ONS. It is one thing for let a musician go do a song, or for let somebody somewhere make a statement. But it get more weight if Sidi Yahya Tunis or Lahai Lawrence Lima or Rado Soare and people in high places make statements of hate, tribal divide. And that is what we see repeatedly happening with authorities in the SLPP and authorities in the government. And
oh really?
unfortunately, just like, yes, and just like we
I don't know if but
do under Quatadexo for APC, that is what we see. If somebody do a song, but PPRC not going to be your government. Make a statement when it comes how APC for their office, and not allow this. You know, so for me, what I'm saying is, if our state institutions we serious for hold people accountable for their actions, a lot of them problems they have to go repeat.
so
Yeah.
Mr. Tunis, we are almost coming to the end of the interview, but there is this last thing I wanted to talk about. You know, the August 10, most of, I would say almost 100% of the one that will jump on the streets for August 10, where they say they don't want the president again, all of them came from APC strongholds. And so people that be the talk say APC be they behind that whole thing there. So I want for hearing from you today if we not begin hand for that thing there at all, or if we not begin hand. I don't say you get for dinner anyway, but I want to let you talk on them a little bit.
Well, I mean, whenever then things that they happen, you get independent bodies that way they do investigations. And we get Amnesty International don't come out with a report, US State Department and other bodies them don't come out with a report. We clearly don't state say the August 10 incident not been get any political motivation. These were genuine Sierra Leoneans who have been concerned about the rise in prices of commodities and decide for jump down streets and protest. And in the process, the police responded some kind of way, it became violent. But let me come to the APC part of it. For say that the protests that happen at APC stronghold is insane and untrue. In the first place,
because at the districts then, which side the protest take place? Right.
In the first place, if APC been behind that protest day, that population day for them be far more than what it was. Let me say this categorically. And besides,
right.
APC is a national party. If we plan a protest, a national party, we are everywhere. And let me just give you some figures. In 2018, we get over 35,000 votes in Kenema district. We get over 30,000 votes in Bo district. We get over 6,000 votes in Pujon district. We get over 21,000 votes in Moyamba district. You want tell me say if APC they plan demonstration, really, if now we plan demonstration as a party, we're not going to live in 100 people. Na Bo, na Kenema, na Pujom. But if for day na street,
No, actually,
and
APC not be for able for hold a demonstration like that day.
if now we been really day behind that demonstration day, as people they say, now that kind of number they will go pull na Freetown.
Right.
No, it
Okay.
will have been far more. But the fact of the matter is, APC had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the August demonstration. As a
Okay.
party, nothing, absolutely.
Okay. So, we are also want for talk about the fact that we are coming back to the elections, and when already, just like how you don't talk, you guys are ready for elections. So, the SLPP we don't ask that, they don't tell we say they are not going to entertain any violence this time. So they make a promise for say APC is committed to a violence-free elections.
Yes, we are committed to that. We are ready for that. We are only saying let there be a level playing field. The police for allow everybody for able to participate freely and fully. A lot of times, then violence can happen where police they try for confront or where people they try for confront one another. But as a political party, we are committed. We have made this commitment several times. Look, a lot of them reforms the way they happen at ECS, PPRC, we participated. May not be one central figure. When me party, they always say. We participated. We made those amendments for ensure that we sanitize with politics. And if only the PPRC can implement the act, ECSL implement the act, and they allow level playing field for everybody, we will have a peaceful election. Now we then go try for manipulate, for take away the will of the people. That is where we will have problem, and that one day we know we'll get control over.
Okay, so finally, when our presidential candidate, Dr. Samura Kamara, he been make a visit na Washington, D.C., we see him then do some photo ops, we see he pass na Washington, but we not be don't see anything come out with tangible for say he actually meet with a senator, congressman. So then they be don't put a doubt over that visit and the publicity what they do. And people that they talk say if he's going to be president of the country, then he needs to start doing something where it not they create any doubt in the minds of the people. So if he met with a senator, waiting and discuss about Sierra Leone, people need to know. So now that you are here, is there any way you go able to tell me what happened in Washington?
You also know, say, in governance, and you know that very well, Mr. Sherix. May you don't be around politics for a while.
Yes.
You also know, say, in governance, there is what we call closed door meeting.
Right.
So if you get closed door meeting with somebody, we can't disclose one, the person identity, and two, waiting on that discuss.
No, but really, as a presidential candidate, I think say you need for tell the people that waiting that the concerns where they go express. But you not need for tell waiting when I talk.
Waiting no mommy will tell you, Dr. Samra in meetings, they're all with dignitaries in the US, be central around how we go, build with democracy stronger, how we will ensure that we continue for maintain the rule of law and help or bring investment. We will yield dividends and developments for the nation and create opportunity for the people of this country. In meetings, they're all been centered around that. Really for ensure say we continue for strengthening with democracy, bring opportunities, we will create more development, more jobs, we will put more money in our pockets and put food on the table.
Right. And so, Mr. Tunis, we don't come to the end of this broadcast, but before we end finally, waiting go be your message to Sierra Leoneans where they watch you at this point about the coming elections.
May they encourage every Sierra Leonean for, remain law-abiding, remain peaceful and calm, and we forgive ourselves as brothers and sisters. Let we not allow politicians for camp preach hate and tribalism to we. Let them tell us how they get for transform our lives, how they get for improve our economy, improve with areas, bring development, and create job opportunities for we. Invest in with beginner education, with healthcare, agriculture, green energy, and then things then they not to for encourage them for can begin to tell we say the Bamanolek Lokoman, Timnimanolek Fulaman, Mendemanolek Madingoman. That one they not go develop with country. We all are brothers and sisters. We go school na Salon, you go school with Timniman, you go school with Limbaman, you go school with Mendeman. Now so we don't leave.
All right. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if Mr. Tunis done. I think say in the
together as Leoneans. Let we know.
All right, so yeah, so Mr. Tunis, I want to take this opportunity for express my thanks and appreciation to you for your time. I know say you're a busy person right now. You're ready for go receive on a leader. You know, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate this session. Hold on, get Naya. And I know say as we go into elections, we go still the call on you from time to time for let come discuss updates. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, my brother. Good catching up again.
All right.
This is Sherix Television Fact Check.
SafeMusicList.com. Royalty-free music.
This is Sherix Television Fact Check.
SafeMusicList.com. Royalty-free music.
This is Sherix Television Fact Check.
SafeMusicList.com.